Hey, I don't care who you are. Nobody should feel sorry for Donald Trump because he's been indicted under the Georgia RICO statute. And I say that because you may not have heard about RICO until last month, but Donald Trump has known about RICO his entire adult life. How do I know this? Because I'm a RICO lawyer, and I've looked up all of the cases that name Donald Trump or somebody named Trump as a party, and I'm going to walk through them with you today so that you understand his whole history when it comes to the RICO statute. Now, the indictment in Georgia is the first time Trump has faced criminal charges under RICO. But he himself has brought civil RICO lawsuits, most recently against his political opponent, Hillary Clinton, and he's faced multiple civil RICO cases as a defendant. Does that make Donald Trump unusual for someone who claims to be a billionaire? No, pretty much any billionaire has faced many civil RICO lawsuits. So now, without any further ado, here's the rundown of the RICO cases I've found that involve someone named Trump, and I'll tell you which ones involve DJT. The first case I found is a 1988 case out of the Southern District of New York. That would be Manhattan. Now, this case does not involve our former president. That lawsuit was against Eddie and Jules Trump, two guys who are also New York real estate developers, but who are in no way related to Donald Trump. Second, we've got a 1993 case, again out of the Southern District of New York. In this case, our former president, Donald Trump, was the plaintiff. That means he brought the lawsuit against the Hyatt Corporation. Now, this case happened so long ago that only the docket appears on the Federal Electronic Filing System. So I really can't tell that much about its history. But looking at the docket, we can see that it was ultimately dismissed in 1994 because of an arbitration clause. So if the case wasn't settled by the parties, it means that the case was resolved through arbitration, and arbitration findings generally are not a matter of public record. But the main thing is that back in 1993, way back then, Donald Trump was already trying to use RICO to his advantage. The third RICO case involving a Trump entity was filed in 1998 in the District of New Jersey. Now, this lawsuit was not filed against Donald Trump personally. It was filed against some Trump business entities involved in the gaming industry. The plaintiffs claimed that some casinos, including Trump's, were engaged in racketeering activities when trying to regulate card counting in blackjack games. But that 1998 case didn't go anywhere either. It was dismissed for failure to allege acts of racketeering. Meaning that even if the court took as true everything that the plaintiff was saying, the plaintiff failed to indicate that there was any criminality going on in Trump's hotels. The fourth case involving Trump entities is a 2002 case filed in Nevada. Like the last case, this one involved the gaming industry. The plaintiffs were claiming that somehow electronic gaming devices were not legitimate when compared to mechanical gaming devices, and the Trump casinos and other casinos that were using electronic gaming devices were defrauding the public. Now, this case is old enough where there is no electronic record about who won or lost. But I assume it didn't go very well for the plaintiffs because, as we all know, electronic gaming devices are still being used in every casino throughout the United States. After that 2002 case, there's quite a gap when Trump doesn't have any involvement with RICO. But that hiatus ended in 2013 when a class action was brought against Trump for activities relating to Trump University. Essentially, the lawsuit alleged that Trump University and the advantages that it tried to sell to people were a total scheme to defraud. A scheme that was orchestrated by our former president. Very similar to the allegations that Donald Trump orchestrated a scheme to overturn the 2020 election. Now, the civil RICO claims in that class action had some teeth. How do we know this? Because those claims survived summary judgment, which means a court reviewed the evidence and determined that there was enough evidence that would allow a jury to rule in favor of the plaintiffs and against Donald Trump. After Trump lost his summary judgment motion, the case was settled in 2017. In 2014, a class action was filed on behalf of models who were under contract with Trump Model Management, and once again, that class action was filed in the Southern District of New York. In 2016, the court dismissed that claim against Trump Model Management, saying that the RICO claim was precluded by remedies that were otherwise available under other U.S. statutes. In 2016, the Board of Managers of Trump Tower brought a civil RICO claim against some other individuals, but it's important to note this RICO claim did not involve Donald Trump at all. The only reason he would be associated with this claim is because it related to activities occurring at Trump Tower. But yeah, had nothing to do with Donald Trump. He's not a plaintiff or defendant in the case. In 2018, Trump was again named as a civil RICO defendant in a case filed in the Southern District of New York. That was another class action filed on behalf of people who bought into ACN, which was allegedly a multi-level marketing scheme that Trump and a bunch of his related entities were promoting. Like the Trump University claim, this RICO claim alleged that Trump was orchestrating a scheme to defraud, basically promising people things that he knew he could not deliver. That RICO case was dismissed in 2019 on the basis that the plaintiffs could not allege proximate cause. In layperson terms, that means that the plaintiffs could not link Trump's alleged RICO violation to the injuries that they were claiming in the lawsuit. And so the court dismissed that claim. And that brings us to Trump's most recent interaction with RICO, which occurred in 2022, at least the most recent interaction before he was indicted by Fani Willis in Fulton County. And we all remember back in 2016 when Donald Trump was chanting at his rallies, "Lock her up." So yeah, it should be no surprise that in 2022, Trump used RICO to go after a political enemy, Hillary Clinton. And not only was Hillary named in that lawsuit, but a whole bunch of other Democratic operatives. But unlike the criminal indictment that Trump faces in Georgia, this was a civil claim that Trump brought himself. Nobody faced any possibility of going to prison as a result of this lawsuit. But Trump was trying to sue all these people for lots and lots of money. Now, this civil RICO claim that Trump brought against Hillary Clinton and the other Democrats was dismissed in 2022. It was dismissed primarily on the basis of statute of limitations, but there were a lot of problems with this claim. In fact, there were so many problems with this claim that one of the defendants was able to get an award of sanctions. Now, to be sanctioned in litigation means you really stepped over the line. I mean, the claim is frivolous. It never should have been brought. It's an abuse of legal process, more or less. In the legal community, there's a term of art for getting beaten in this manner. We say, yeah, you got your ass kicked. So yeah, even though you've maybe never heard of RICO before now, Trump knows about RICO, known about it for a long time. He's tried to benefit from it, and he's been sued under it. It's back and forth constantly. And this indictment down in Georgia may be the most serious RICO claim that Trump has ever faced, but it's not his first. So if you think that Fani Willis is overreaching when she used the RICO statute, you have to look at Trump's history under RICO. And if Fani Willis is overreaching now, well then Trump has certainly done so in the past as well. This isn't a persecution, it's not a witch hunt. Do not feel sorry for him.